Welcome to the Higher Self Podcast. The purpose of this podcast is to help you unravel anything keeping you from a life of true abundance, joy, and happiness, which is your birthright. Each week, we'll bring in different guests specifically tailored to help you on your journey to discovering your higher self. Whether it's spirituality, business, finances, health, or relationships, there are no topics that are off limits. So get ready and enjoy this week's episode on the Higher Self. Listen to me right now. You are in for an absolute treat. This week on the Higher Self, I introduce you to my personal doctor. Probably one of the best doctors on planet Earth. If you have any issues with your body, just get ready, because I don't even know what's going to be said on this one, but I know it could potentially change your life. Welcome, Dr. Tom.
Thanks, Danny.
I don't even know your last name.
Marciano.
Marciano. I just know you as Dr. Tom.
Yeah, that's just how I keep it simple. I like keeping it very friendly, close. You know, I don't like the power dynamic that it creates.
Absolutely.
You can't heal from a heightened state. You have to be at their level, because that's how you empower people.
I love that, man. I love that. And so I'm going to tell you all how this whole thing got started. I was at a place in my life where I used to go to this chiropractor called The Joint. By the way, nothing wrong with The Joint. I'm just telling you my story. And I would get adjusted in my back probably once a week minimum, sometimes twice a week, depending on what was going on with me. And it was something I didn't realize was happening, was that I was telling my body that it was not safe, is what I was doing, because I was constantly forcing it, right? And so then I was at my wit's end. I was having a hard time sleeping. My back was aching. My lower hips were aching. Everything was wrong with me. I was blaming working out, but I love working out, and I couldn't do squats. I couldn't deadlift anymore. I couldn't sleep anymore. I was a mess. I was literally a mess. And I was running out of answers, quite frankly, until I messaged my friend Samson, which many of you know from previous episodes on the show. I said, brother, who do you know that is like, you know, maybe body healer, worker? And he's like, don't worry, I got your guy. He's a chiropractor and an acupuncturist. And those two things combined, because I respect so much Chinese medicine, I thought, ooh, that's a nice combination. And then check this out. Here's what happened. So we had our first session, and I remember you came to adjust me. And as you adjust my neck adjusted. But then as you went to adjust my back, it didn't move. And I'm going to tell you what happened, because I'm so used to my previous chiropractor, and he would just like crack the shit out of me, basically. I thought, this guy doesn't know what he's doing. That's what I thought. That was the story in my head. And I was ready to say in that moment, because of my mind, the way I work, I'm very like, yes, no, black or white, it is or it isn't. I was ready to say no. And then I gave you an opportunity to explain to me why my back didn't adjust.
Yeah.
Sure, what happened?
Well, it was funny too, because in that moment, you're like, well, usually you just have to go harder.
Yeah. Trying to control the situation, right?
Trying to tell me how to treat you. And I'm like, that's fair, you know? Okay.
Yeah.
But one of the things that I learned through my practice is that tension is fear. Okay? So if there's any fear in the body, your body is going to tighten up to protect that area. And why would forcing through that fear create safety? It's just going to create more fear.
It does the opposite.
Exactly. And I only noticed this because when we're in school, when we're learning chiropractic techniques and adjustment techniques, that's how we're taught. It's just go harder, go faster, make sure you get the cavitation. If it doesn't cavitate, that's fine, but make sure you get the movement. That's what we need. But it never felt good to me. I would have people try to adjust me when I was difficult to be adjusted, and they would just hit it harder and harder and harder, and eventually they'd get it to crack, but I would be so sore afterwards. It would last weeks, and it just wouldn't go away, and I'm like, this doesn't feel like healing, versus the times when my body can actually settle in, relax, feel safe, and that adjustment, oh my gosh, that's when I'm like, wow, there's that energy, there's that safety that we need. So it just took a while for me to start stepping back and asking myself why, kind of like how little kids constantly ask, why? I just kept asking myself, why is this treatment work for some but not others? Why isn't this staying as permanent as I would like it to be? And I found that when I stopped forcing the adjustment, even though that's what my patients expected me to do, that's when I actually got the healing to accomplish, because I spent time with their body so it could feel safe, so it can be expansive, so it can actually trust itself to move again freely without pain, without injury. And then that's when the adjustments would start coming.
You know, it's so interesting. And I had never, there's so much to be said there. Number one, culturally, we are so outcome driven, right? So like when it comes to chiropractic care, because I'm outcome driven in my normal life, you know, call it success driven, focus, whatever it is, it's like, I want the payoff. And the payoff is that adjustment.
You want the transformation.
That's it.
You want that, like, this is what I'm paying for. This is what I want.
That's it. That instant gratification. And then when you explained to me what you told me, you literally like blew my mind, because you showed me like, watch, notice how easily your neck adjusts. And I was like, yeah. And then you go, but notice I'm going to use the same pressure, but your back doesn't adjust. He goes, that's because your back doesn't feel safe. And that's because you're holding stuff in your back. And right there, I had done enough work to go, oh my God, he's right. It resonated as truth with me, right? The second thing that I wanted to bring up, Dr. Tom, is how, I don't know what it is that happened, but for the first time, you're right. I didn't want that instant gratification, because the instant gratification no longer worked for me. It was proving itself to not work for me because of how my body was feeling. And you literally allowed my body to feel safe, so safe that now if I'm in the shower, like I could adjust myself basically, you know?
Yeah.
And it's because it's loose, right? What led you to that point where the dots connected for you that's what human beings' bodies needed?
Wow, that's a really good question. I reflect on that a lot, actually, trying to figure out what led me to this point. And it really all goes back to the martial arts experience I have. I've been training martial arts for 13 years. And the more I stepped away from the modern medicine theology that I was taught in school and started applying the martial components, the philosophies, the Chinese wisdom, the esoteric knowledge, and started looking at that and like, okay, well, this works for fighting. Well, fighting is like the same as healing, just the opposite end of the spectrum. So think about hot and cold. The temperature is temperature. It's just we put our opinion on whether it is hot or cold. Same thing with fighting and healing. It's just intent. So I was like, how do I make the lessons I've learned and how to hurt people a way to heal people? And the same way that you use to penetrate a punch to like get through the surface level of muscle so you can penetrate and hit organs or nerves or whatever you're trying to do to harm the person, is the same thing with healing. You have to start soft, you have to start slow, you have to make sure the body feels safe, and then you can explode once you're inside. Well, instead of exploding once I'm inside, then I just heal instead. So it's just the intent difference.
Wow. And I remember we've had some moments where, like, guys, this is why I love this journey that I am on and that we are on. It's like when you finally realize what's actually happening, like taking point, I had been going to a chiropractor for 5 or 6 years. So that means 5 or 6 years of my life, doing this certain thing. And never did I have the experience like I had with you, where you would massage my back and then you'd get to the point where, Dr. Tom, it felt like you were stabbing me in my back, in my back, without putting too much pressure on it. And then you would say things like, show your body it is safe to release. Tell them what you meant by that.
So that's a newer realization that I've come to over the last year of the practice that I'm cultivating right now. But I've noticed the more I get in tune with talking to the body, the more I am capable of being a translator for you to learn how to talk to your own body. And when I was telling you that, if you're feeling this pain, this discomfort, all that is stagnation. Something isn't moving. So that stagnation starts creating toxin buildup, rotting, like atrophy. Well, that's where the pain comes from, is things aren't moving. So when I press into those spots, I'm not actually healing the space. I'm just shining a spotlight on that area. And then I bring your awareness to it. I'm like, look, breathe into this space. use the breath, expand it. And then when you do that, then you have the opportunity to show your body that you're, one, thankful for everything that it's doing for you, but two, that it's safe even in this moment of pain. So that catch-22 that your body's stuck in, like, oh, we have an injury, we need to protect it. Oh, we have an injury, we need to protect it, can finally rest, relax, and you can go back to where you're supposed to be.
And let it go.
Yeah.
And it's so incredible, the paradigm between showing the body that it can let go, and like you on your healing journey, letting go of that person that hurt you, that pain that you felt, you know, that trauma that you experienced as a little boy or little girl. And it's so incredibly profound to me that the body can hold on to that trauma and that fear and that pain the same way we can emotionally. As a matter of fact, isn't that what it is? The body is holding on to that emotion in that spot.
It's funny you bring that up because, you know, I'm not going to speak anything Latin because I can barely speak English as it is. But the root of emotion is to move out in Latin. So when your body experiences these things, we don't allow ourselves to feel it. We just hold on to these emotions. We get so hurt, and then we get so focused on who hurt us or why we got hurt or the mistakes we made. We get obsessed with the symptoms, and then we hold on to that, and the body just tries to deal with it the best way it can by either putting it somewhere and hiding it and trapping it, or trying to just avoid it altogether until eventually you can't. And that's when you get to the point where you're not sleeping, you're not moving, everything you do is just painful, everything you love is harder to do, you just feel scared and tired all the time. That's what happens is you build up all these emotions that you aren't processing because we don't give ourselves permission to feel bad, sad, tired, angry.
Right. I love that, man. Hey guys, before you continue listening, I wanted to introduce you to the sponsor of this episode, Athletic Greens. I decided to give AG1 a try because I wanted a supplement that actually tastes great, boosts my energy, and supports my immune system. Especially for someone like myself that fasts all day, I take it in the morning before starting my day, and it makes me feel incredible. It makes me feel like I'm doing something good for my body. It also helps me save an enormous amount of time, and it makes my life so much easier with just one scoop in the morning. So it makes it a very seamless and easy daily habit for me. Just one serving of this stuff, AG1, supports my long-term gut health. It has 75 high-quality vitamins in it, minerals, and whole food source ingredients. So if you're looking for a simple and cost-effective supplement routine, Athletic Greens is giving you a free 1-year supply of their vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. So just go to athleticgreens.com/Danny. That's athleticgreens.com/Danny and go check it out today. And you know, I think what's helped me is my work with plant medicine, because I think Jen told me this once, is like the beauty of plant medicine is that you go through so much deep shit in the journey that anything that happens in life, it's like you can handle it.
It's funny you say that too, because I think that's where the martial arts power comes from. Because when you actually do traditional martial arts, not knocking anything else, but when you're doing styles that are more oriented towards just fighting, like the very common, like Krav Maga, MMA, BJJ, the very popular ones nowadays.
Yeah.
They're amazing for what they are, but they're very yang in nature, very masculine, fiery, aggressive. They're energy depleting activities. They lack the yin side of things that traditional martial arts have, where at the same time that you're learning how to expand the body and strengthen the body, you're also balancing that mind-muscle connection. You're training that mind, that discipline to be able to handle intense scenarios where it could be life or death. Even if it isn't, there's still that simulation of that. There's still that emotional release, that toxin release, that hormonal upregulation that occurs that we need, that fight or flight response that we have to learn how to overcome. And that's the same exact thing that plant medicine does without having to do it yourself.
I got you.
So I think plant medicine is amazing, but I think it's just a doorway. And I think that's why you see people that have to constantly go back over and over and over again, because they walk through the doorway, but their body and mind isn't strong enough to handle the blessings. So then they have to go back again and again and again. So if you don't have some kind of practice that cultivates that for you to make your container strong and powerful, it's not going to matter how much awareness you get.
And also, if you don't have a practice that causes you to not run away.
Yes.
So, like, for example, one of the things that has me, that I believe has created just profound amounts of strength within myself is my daily practice of fasting.
I love that.
You know, because it's like everything in me right now wants to go grab a croissant.
Yeah.
Or a banana, or a little bowl of oatmeal.
How
even if
good
it's,
would a pizza sound?
Yeah, right.
You know?
even if it's healthy.
Yeah.
But it's like there's a practice within me that has the power to say no to that.
Yep.
And then on top of that, to still go out and work out while in a fasted state.
Yep.
And it's like you get to the space where the body nor the mind is in control. It's like your truest essence is in control, right? And both are bowing to you. And I say that because, you know, in moments like that, like I've had moments where my kids are eating pizza in front of me at lunch or whatever, and I'm just like, I'm able to like not be affected by it, you know? In the same way that when you are, I vividly remember I'm laying down and you just literally, I don't know what you're doing, but you have your thumb or something in my back and it feels like you're stabbing me. And I'm like, and don't get me wrong. I'm being a little bitch in the moment. You know what I'm saying?
No, you're not.
But it's
man.
like,
no, you're not.
I'm like breathing through it and I'm like, and because it feels like you're stabbing me. And yet I subconsciously am aware that it's just something I've been holding on to.
Yep.
And then when you say breathe into it, and guys, you've got to, I wish you could experience this someday, but when you start breathing into it and you start expanding it, it's true. It's like your body feels free to let go of it.
And you want to know something cool?
What?
Everybody can experience this.
Yeah.
You don't need me. That's the beauty of it. I'm trying to empower people with knowledge. Like this concept that we're talking about, anybody can do. You can go get a terrible massage from somebody that has no clue what they're doing. Have them just drop an elbow into something that hurts and breathe through it.
Breathe through it.
Show your body that you're safe. Thank your body for everything that it's done for you, everything that it's gone through to carry you to be the person you are today. And you will instantly start feeling that release that we're talking about. You don't need me. I'm just a lighthouse guiding you.
I love that. I love that. It's so true because sometimes, like, you know, if my shoulder flares up or something, I just personally like press into it and I'm like, see, I could feel it right now.
Yeah.
Oh. and I breathe into it and then I have patience and then eventually it releases and it's good to go.
Do you like being told what to do?
Not really.
Yeah,
no.
nobody does.
Yeah.
You know? So it's the same thing with your body. It's the same way. You can't force healing. And that's where I think a lot of us go wrong. I think that's one of the long lost traditions that would have been passed down is that we're supposed to be guides for the person that's damaged. We're not supposed to force them into what we think health is. I've actually done acupuncture on a patient, very high performing professional. I treated him textbook way that I thought based on the 5-element charts and what he was imbalanced of. Well, he calls me the next day. He's like, I don't know what you did to me, but I couldn't sleep. I can't focus at work. I'm exhausted. Like, can you undo this? And I was like, sure. So I had him come back in and we did an opposite treatment that actually puts him out of balance and more into that fire state. But that is how he functions. That's his prime state.
Got it.
Which shows that I need to make sure I'm not putting my biasness in the healing process on the people that I'm healing. I need to make sure that not only am I trying to fix and make space, but I'm working with them and their goals. If I'm working with a high performing athlete, I can't tell them 6 weeks of bed rest because they can't do that. Whereas somebody else that, you know, it doesn't matter if they make their weekend volleyball tournament or not, they can take a little bit of time off, you know? So it just depends on what the goals are, where they're at. And it's a really difficult concept to teach, but once you get it, then it makes sense. And you're like, oh, wow, okay. And then you see that problem in all of the healthcare system is everybody's just this, then this. It's very mathematical and there's no art to it anymore.
So talk to me about the healthcare system. Talk to me about, I mean, like, cause like I, you know, for obvious reasons, when you're conscious, I don't trust anything.
Yeah.
I see the motivation. I see the end game. I know friends who have been told they have cancer and that they have to go through, step A, B, and C, and almost be like manipulated into feeling like that's the only option that you have. And so I guess what I want to ask you is like, I'm on this journey, man. I've done every plant medicine. I've meditated. I've cried. I've released. I've cleaned up my eating, whatever the case may be. But first, talk to me about the healthcare system and its true reason for existing from your perspective. And secondly, if someone is out there and they're having an issue with their body, what are the first couple of steps that they should take in order to start the healing process?
That's a good one. So the healthcare system, this is going to take about 15 days. So
do it.
Okay.
Let's do it.
No, the main thing is with the system in place right now is everybody is trying to fix everything all the time. Like, I refer my patients to other chiropractors. I refer my patients to other acupuncturists. Professionals call me and they're like, why are you sending me patients? It's like, because you have a skill set that can treat this person better, or that can help this person better on their journey. I'm not able to heal everyone. And so to be able to be discerning in the fact that I know what I'm capable of and I know what I'm not capable, and being able to send people where they need to go is how the system should be in place. And I think the more people that stand up and do that, the better our system will be, instead of everybody trying to fix everybody because they're a hammer and they look at everybody as a nail. And we're not all nails, and we're not all hammers. And that's beautiful because there's plenty of problems to go around for all of us.
Yeah.
So it's like, there's a lot of people that are getting lined up for back surgeries that should be seeing chiropractors. Even the bad chiropractors, they could do better for them than most back surgeries. And vice versa. There's people getting adjusted that should not be getting adjusted. They should go get surgery, or they should go do PT exercises. There's so many components because our bodies are so complex to an unbelievably dense level. We are a giant ecosystem. We are a universe of complex things happening every day, all day long. So to think that one person is going to be able to fix everything is just crazy. And just because they have these symptoms does not mean that they have this problem and they have this type of treatment that's going to help them. That's why there's always a % chance that they're not going to be better, because not everybody is the same. I work on shoulder problems all the time. The chance that shoulder problem is the same as another one, few and far between. Because we're complex.
And we're our own unique individual organism.
Exactly. Filled with all kinds of unique organisms working in harmony in ways that we don't even understand.
Yeah. And that I started to understand the more that I started to work with you. It's like you would touch me over here, and then all of a sudden over here would be better. And it's like a map. It's like if the body's like a map, like an intricate. It's fascinating.
Yeah, and that's my language, body language. That's my primary language, just being able to communicate with the body and listen to it and understand it. And I attribute that to the Tai Chi that we do, because one of the things in Tai Chi is being able to match intent and feel intent. So being able to tie my energy into yours and knowing what your body is going to do in fighting stance for you trying to hurt me. But you do the same thing with healing. Now I can tie in, I can see where your attention is, where you're weak, where you're strong, where you're safe, where you're not safe, where you're fearful. So
I got it.
Yeah.
So someone's out there right now and they're in, I don't know, we're in Austin, Texas. They're in New York City.
Yep.
Or Florida or London or somewhere in the world, and they're listening to this and they go, whoa, this is resonating with me. Like, there's an issue in my body, and maybe they're on medication, maybe they're at their wit's end, maybe they can't sleep, maybe, all sorts of things are happening. Yep. Where do you start?
You start by trusting yourself and forgiving yourself. Hands down, that's number one. Because a lot of us look at ourselves like we're a problem, and you're never going to heal if you constantly think you're a problem. You have to be like, no, I am a solid, strong, healthy individual. You start there. Then you can start focusing exactly on what the problem is, instead of this global, I have no clue what's happening. Because like when I first met you, you're like, I can't sleep, I can't work out, I'm in pain, this, that. Like your body is just hyper stressed. So there's no way to tell what is the main issue. So if you can just take a moment, breathe into your body, show it some love, show it some attention, that superficial stress, anxiety, pain will slowly melt away if you can truly just thank your body and forgive the decisions you made to get to that point. then you'll start knowing, okay, well, yeah, I think it's mostly my shoulder. And then you can try to start movement protocols. You can look on YouTube. There's thousands of different videos that can show you different exercises for whatever pain you have. And then just try it. If the movement doesn't help, you can go get a recommendation from a specialist. I would just Google like local body workers, chiropractors, acupuncturists, physical therapists, whatever is highly rated in your area, and then just call and talk to them. And you don't have to sign up just because it's the first person you talk to. See if it resonates, see if what they're doing resonates with you. Try a treatment first, you know. I see too many people just go to the first person that's willing to articulate their problem and then not stop even if it's not helping. But you also have to trust that your body's going to take time and give it patience, because you have to remember how long it took you to get to that problem in the first place. It's not just going to go away instantly, unless you're taking a pill. But we're just talking Band-Aids at that point.
Yeah, man. But I gotta tell you something, man. I just don't think there are too many people out there that have this combination that you have, where it's like you understand the body, you have the patience to work with it, and also you understand spirituality and energy. Like, that's a very unique, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And it's funny because I was never one of those people. I was the complete opposite. If it wasn't proven by science, I was like, that's bullshit. That's fake. That's nonsense, you know?
Yeah.
And the more you start applying it, because I have to disprove things. I'm not just going to talk down on something if I don't know. And so I would try to disprove it. I would try to disprove acupuncture. I would try to disprove chiropractic. I would try to disprove all these theories I'm talking to you about. And it would just make my patients get better results. Well, okay, obviously I can't disprove this, so there's something here. And then it just made me dive in deeper. I think my main thing is the fact that we're talking about this on the podcast. I'm hoping other healers listen to it, and it gives them the safety to try and trust themselves. Because at first it was hard for me to step out of the paradigm because of how much we're force-fed. This is the way. It has to be this way. If you go outside of this, you could be risked for sued, or you can hurt people, or people won't come back to you because nobody likes pain. I'm like, everybody's in pain all the time. What do you mean nobody likes pain? You know, I will gladly take whatever pain I need if it's going to fix an issue to allow me to have the life that I dream of, to be able to move freely, run, jump, have fun, go on adventures until the day I die. You know, I want to have that unlimited freedom that movement and health gives me.
So let's talk to the healers out there.
Okay.
Right? Let's talk to the healers out there. And again, guys, you know, Dr. Tom, you have cultivated this unique ability to, like I said already, work with the body, work with energy. You know, how would someone out there that is a healer like start on that path?
Surrender.
What did you do? What did you do? Like what was that first moment where you thought, you know, I think I want to try something else? What was that?
My first moment? There's just been so many first moments. Like every time it was like a new layer getting peeled back. I would say when I started noticing that my patients would get better and wouldn't get better with the same treatments and the same diagnoses. I'd be like, why is this one getting better but this one isn't? And then every once in a while I would have a patient, especially with acupuncture, where it would make them worse. And I was like, that's odd.
Really?
Mm-hmm. And so I was like, okay, there's got to be something more to this. So I would just dive in deeper, and I just couldn't figure out the answers. And then somebody told me one day that life is about connecting all of our passions into one spot. And that's when I started applying the martial arts to my medicine. And I just remembered that first day I was treating my patient, and instead of doing like the trigger point release like I normally do, I just dropped my shoulders, I breathed into my body, and then I just relaxed, and I stopped trying to put my expectations on their body. And I've never felt a muscle release the way it did. And that was like a huge eye-opening moment for me, because I've always tried to force it to happen. And I stopped forcing it, and it just let go.
So were you like a traditional chiropractor at one time?
Mm-hmm.
So you would have been the guy that like ripped me up?
Yeah, I used to work at an office where I was seeing people 5 minutes, back to back, boom, boom, boom. You'd lay on the table, adjust you, go. Adjust
Right.
you, go. Adjust you, go.
That's where I was going.
Yeah. Yeah, that's how I started. And then between that, I would have acupuncture patients in the back room that I would go put needles on and then leave. Like now I'm with you. So I actually take you through a guided meditation. I bring you into your body. I teach you and show you that there's better ways to move and breathe and exist and how to actually talk with your body because I can't always be there for you. So I want to make sure that my treatments are empowering you to not need me anymore. That way you can, if you desire me, yeah, sure, we could do treatments moving forwards, but you shouldn't need me. You shouldn't rely on me. And that's my goal.
And that's, you know what, that's where I'm at.
Yeah.
It's so interesting. But like, I was at a place where I needed to go to the joint.
Yeah.
I needed, again, nothing wrong with the joint.
Yeah, no, there's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah. I needed to go there, and I no longer need you. It's interesting. I just like for you to do your magic on me.
Yeah, exactly. Because it feels,
But
once you know what optimal movement and energy it feels like, you're like,
Yeah.
God, this is amazing.
Yeah.
And then you start feeling the stress of the world and anxiety of the world pulling you in, and you're like, oh my gosh, I need Dr. Tom, like open me up again, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So that's fine. And your point to the joint, that kind of medicine works amazingly. I'm not knocking it at all. The only thing is, if you're above average in the health, if you're eating good, if you're moving often, if you're doing all the things and you still have a chronic pain, you need something deeper.
that was me.
Yeah.
That was me.
And that's where that stuff stops working. And that's what gives chiropractic a bad name, because those people are trying to fix high performers where this isn't enough, because they're destroying their body. They need something that's going to treat at the same level or more than how hard they're pushing themselves.
You know what you just made me think of? It's just like Dave Ramsey. Do you know who Dave Ramsey is? The financial guy?
Yeah.
It's like that works for people who are not, I would say for people not making over 150, 200K a year, whatever the case may be. It's just a different world that you live in,
Exactly.
because you don't have to hold on so tightly like he teaches you to do. And again, nothing wrong with that either.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that either. But I really resonate with what you're saying. I really resonate with what you're saying. And speaking of finances, I got to ask you a question. Because, at the end of this podcast, you'll work on me and you'll work on Jen, and you'll probably work on Jo. She's up there as well. And, I will happily pay what you charge me. It's going to be for the three of us, $650, but whatever it is. I got to ask you something, because so often I get and I see comments on like what we charge for like Awaken, which Awaken is 3 days of transformation
Yep.
for about the same that I will spend on 2 hours of your personal time. And people have such a difficult time with that. Not everybody, but some. Talk to me about consciousness and what happens when you love yourself and you value yourself enough that money no longer becomes an issue, and that love for yourself actually transforms your life and your money.
Yeah. I talk about this a lot with my patients. It's a luxury to optimize. A lot of people don't realize that. But if you're at a point in your life where you don't have to worry about putting food on the table, you don't have to worry about the roof over your head, you don't have to worry about safety, and you're trying to figure out a past trauma that's, bothering you, if you're at that point in your life, this is a luxury. So there's a component of that that's involved that makes it easier or more difficult for certain people to take care of themselves at that level.
Yeah.
But there's also a point where you need to remember that if you don't focus on you first, nothing's ever going to come into your life, because you have to be a vessel that's able to receive the magic that's out there. So there is a weird balance in that. I totally understand what you're talking about. I've come to terms with the fact that you can't help everybody, and if people are meant to be there, Samson, for instance, he told me, the people that have the ears for your knowledge or your words will listen, I probably just butchered the crap out of that. Sorry,
You
Samson.
probably did.
But it sounded way better when he told me. The main thing is that like the people that I'm supposed to help, I will help regardless of that, because all money is energy anyways.
That's right.
So when people realize the value, they'll pay it all day.
Hey guys, listen, one of the partners of today's episode is Athletic Greens. And I gave AG1 a try because I wanted something that helped boost my gut health, but also tasted great at the same time. Listen, guys, I'm going to tell you right now, I take this stuff in the morning before starting my day, and it makes me feel like I'm giving my body the nutrition that it like craves. And I love giving my body what it needs, especially for someone that fasts all day. I've tried tons of different supplements out there, but this is different. This makes me feel like I'm putting really good stuff in my body and that the ingredients are super high quality. And for both Jen and I, we're big fans and we use it daily. So anyone that's looking for a simple but high quality way to upgrade their health in 2023, this is it. AG1 by Athletic Greens. Go to athleticgreens.com/Danny and they're giving you a free sample of their vitamin D for the entire year and 5 free travel packs. That's athleticgreens.com/Danny. Go there right now.
And yet, wouldn't you agree with the statement? And this is what I'm fundamentally trying to help people to understand in this podcast and everything that we do. Wouldn't you agree with the statement that once we truly learn to love ourselves, the feeling and the desire of loving ourselves opens us up energetically to receive more money?
Yep. Well, you can't love yourself. I mean, you can't love others if you don't love yourself. That's
right.
where all the pain comes from in general. That's where all our anxiety, depression, anger. I mean, you look at everything that's happening these days, and it's because people don't know how to value themselves. They don't know how to love themselves. They don't know how to be with themselves, alone with themselves, without some type of distraction present.
That's right. That's right.
So if you can't get to that point where you're like, I'm good. I am enough. I'm here for a reason. I may not know what that reason is yet.
I'm okay with that for right now.
It's fine because I'm on the right path. I'm going to keep doing the best I can. And as long as I'm doing the best I can, any mistake I make won't matter anyways because I'll just learn the lesson and then move on next better. And that's just how life should be, you know? So interesting. When you look at the 3 treasures in Chinese medicine, they talk about Shen, Qi, and Jing. So Shen is the mind or spirit, and it's housed in the heart. Qi is like your energy, it's flowing, it's cultivated in the stomach. Jing is the kidneys. The heart is where our mind and spirit resides. It's the home of it. So we're always so focused on trying to figure out stuff up here. We never listen down here because when we listen here, we get hurt. So we get scared, so we close it off. Why would we close off this just because of pain? It makes no sense because if you need to expand, you have to first contract. How do you blow up a balloon? Yeah, you got to breathe in first.
Breathe in first.
Yeah. So if you don't experience pain, which is contracting you into your body, how are you ever going to be able to expand out and love anybody? So it's so interesting that people get hurt and they just run and hide and wall up. It's like, this is life. We're supposed to be getting hurt. That's the point of relationships, is to teach us vulnerability and surrender, because that's how we grow. That's how we become the embodiment of what we're supposed to be. That's how we show the world love unconditionally, not just conditionally. Because a lot of us, even if we get to a point where we can show ourselves love, there's conditions with it.
That's right.
Well, if I'm loving myself, then I better be rich. I better be successful. I better be happy. It's like, no, that's not how it is. I love myself. I don't care if I can walk. I don't care if I own a car. I don't care if I have 10 cars. It doesn't matter because I know that I am. And that's all that matters.
I love that.
And it's hard to get to that point. And I think the only way you can get there is through being vulnerable, through surrendering, through pain. Discomfort is mandatory.
Absolutely. And it's while you were saying that, what I thought of was those moments where, you know, you had your elbow or whatever it is in me and I wanted to run because the thought is there.
Oh yeah, for sure.
The thought is there to run.
Yeah.
And yet the thought is also there to stay.
Yeah. Because you want to see what you're capable of.
That's right.
You know, the what's the word I'm looking for? The primal instincts is to get away, fight or flight. You want to run because you're so tired of pain. You've done all the work. You don't want to deal with this anymore. Why can't it just go away? But then you take that breath and you're like, or why not just see what I'm capable of?
Yeah.
You know?
Why not see how long I can last with this?
Yeah.
Why not see?
Because that pain's always there.
Yeah.
Even though I'm pressing on it and it's making it aggravated, that pain is always present. That's the reason why you wake up and you're tired. That's the reason why you wake up and you're fatigued or stressed, because that pain is always there stealing energy from you. And until you make that space for it to leave, you're never going to drop those weights. So you're carrying around all these anchors, and everybody's like, man, why can't I be motivated today? Why am I laying in bed again?
Yeah.
Because you're weighed down and you haven't given yourself a chance to forgive the person that made the decisions to cause those pains to begin with, which is you. Nobody wants to do that because that's a hard conversation to have.
Yeah. I love that. I love that. Thank you for being here, man.
Yeah. Thank you for
being here.
having me.
Yeah. How do people get a hold of you?
So right now I'm going to be modifying my website. It's currently beastchiro.com, but it might be changing to beastlighthouse.com. I'm not quite sure yet.
beastchiro.com.
Yep.
Okay.
Exactly. Or on Instagram, beastchiro. Or
Beast Chiro.
correct.
Got it.
Or at Beast Lighthouse. We'll see.
We'll see.
Things are going to be changing in the next week or so.
Nice, man.
Yeah, I'm excited.
I like that.
Thank you.
Yeah. I'm curious, why the lighthouse?
The awakening that I had last night.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a huge realization that even in my state of surrender, I'm still going into treatments with expectations. I'm going in there expecting that I'm going to be able to accomplish the healing that they're paying me for. And in turn, they're going into the treatment expecting me that I'm going to heal them. And that's creating this dynamic of, like I told you at the beginning, a power dynamic where I'm above you. You're broken. I'm not. You need me to fix you. And I don't like that.
I gotcha.
I want to be that lighthouse. And that's what came to me is the world is this torrential storm and we're all out at sea on our ships doing our thing because that's what we have to do. But when you're ready to heal, when you're ready to make that step, I want to be the lighthouse that guides you back to shore safely without forcing you to. I'm just here. Hey, look, this is the path whenever you're ready. And then when you come back, you're good, you're ready. Okay, go on back out. Here's the path to go out.
I don't know about you, but I think it's Lighthouse Cairo.
Yeah, okay. I like that too. Maybe we'll go there.
Lighthouse Cairo. I think.
I know a lot of people don't like the beast because at the superficial level, they think it's very masculine, but it's actually an acronym, 5 elements
For
the healing that I bring you. Balance, empowerment, awareness, strength, and transformation.
Never mind. I like Beast Light. I like it. Never mind.
Yeah,
I like that. Yeah.
It's one of those things because we are so quick to judge everything by the cover. And I love that there's so much depth to this because it gives that perception to people like, maybe I need to stop doing that. Maybe I need to look into things more.
I love that. I love that. Yeah. Thanks for being here, man.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. That's it for this week's episode of The Higher Self. Check out Dr. Tom. For those of you that are in Inner Circle, he was actually with us at our intensive working on people, and people were like bumping into me saying, "Oh my God, Dr. freaking Tom." And I was like, I told you. So it's really wonderful to see his gift and work. And I appreciate you for being here.
I appreciate you too. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. We'll see you next week on next week's episode of The Higher Self. Thanks for watching this week's episode of The Higher Self. If you heard something in this week's episode that caused you to think maybe, just maybe, there was a higher potential for your life, maybe there was a potential to earn and receive financial freedom, to attract the relationship of your dreams, or to improve your health, that's what we specialize in. We help wonderful human beings like yourself to unravel all of the limiting thoughts, feelings, and emotions that you've been living through so that you can finally tap into your life's truest potential. If you'd like to talk more about that, we invite you to join us on Instagram or Facebook and email us the word "discover more." And when my team sees that, they will reach out to you, send you the details of how we could help you on your pathway to a life of abundance, fulfillment, and creating the absolute life of your dreams. Message us right now the words "discover more" now on Instagram or Facebook, and we'll see you soon.